The Marvel Cinematic Universe has just gotten a lot bigger and a whole lot weirder in all the best possible ways. Captain Marvel managed to burn through a whole lot of story in a fun, fast-paced adventure that sets up some exciting things for Avengers Endgame. But a movie jam-packed with this much awesome stuff might be a little tough to follow from start to finish. If you're looking to make sense of it all, look no further. Let's photon blast our way through the plot of Captain Marvel and explain just what the ending might mean. Strap in, major spoilers ahead. Captain Marvel begins on Hala, the homeworld of the Kree. We're introduced to Vias, a member of the planet's group of Star Force warriors, and she's been having nightmares. During training sessions with her mentor and commander, Jan Rog, we learn that Vias is being trained to suppress her emotions, stop questioning her mysterious past, and fight without using her powers, which seems to consist of having super hot hands. But Vias sucks at emotion suppressing, and she loves that whole hot hand thing. So after a few too many photon blasts, she's sent to be admonished by the Supreme Intelligence, the artificial intelligence leader of the Kree. The Supreme Intelligence appears differently to everyone, and in Via's case, it appears as a mysterious woman. Good thing too, because the Supreme Intelligence is actually butt ugly and also supremely gross.
Okay, I may barf, but will someone tell me what that thing is?
Soon, Vias, Jan Rog, and the rest of Star Force head off on a mission to rescue an undercover Kree operative. But the whole thing turns out to be a Skrull ambush, and Vias is captured and interrogated with a mind-scanning machine. That's where we conveniently catch more glimpses of Vias' hidden memories, and the life she used to have as an Air Force pilot on Earth. After mustering every ounce of willpower, Vias escapes captivity, busts up a Skrull ship, and zips down to Earth in an escape pod, followed by a squad of Skrull warriors led by a guy named Talos. Their mission: find a hidden lightspeed engine developed by scientist Dr. Wendy Lawson. After crash landing into a blockbuster video, Vias finds herself stuck on Earth. So she places a long-distance call to her Star Force buddies to tell them she's going after the Skrulls. It isn't long before Vias encounters the local law enforcement and also the feds in the form of Nick Fury, agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Just as Fury and his partner, Agent Phil Coulson, are about to arrest her for the crime of busting holes into video stores, she's attacked by a Skrull sniper and gives chase. Fury and Coulson likewise chase the chaser, and we soon discover that the guy riding shotgun with Fury isn't Coulson at all, but a Skrull, now dead, who took his place. Once the chase ends, Vias seeks answers from her recently unlocked memories, while Fury joins her in a quest to discover the location of Dr. Lawson's engine. Meanwhile, S.H.I.E.L.D. has been infiltrated with at least one Skrull operative, Talos, who's impersonating Fury's boss, Agent Keller. Fury and Vias head to Project Pegasus to learn about Lawson's work. There they encounter Lawson's cat, named Goose, a photo of Vias as a human fighter pilot, and also those darned Skrulls. A fight ensues, and Vias and Fury steal an experimental flight craft and head to Louisiana, where they hope to get more answers about Vias' former life from Maria Rambeau, who was the last person to see Lawson and Vias alive on Earth. The reunion with Rambeau and her daughter Monica is bittersweet, as Vias learns her true identity of Carol Danvers, a test pilot who was presumed dead 6 years ago after a flight with Lawson's special project went wrong. But even as Rambeau fills in the gaps about her life as Danvers, she's unable to remember as much about her past as she'd like. She can only retain glimpses of her memories, and many of them are memories of various failures, like crashing a go-kart or falling from the ropes course during her time in basic training. While gathering more memories, however, the house is infiltrated by Talos and another Skrull. But this time, instead of threatening Danvers and her friends, Talos offers a truce and an audio recording of Danvers' death. Here's where we learn the truth. Danvers and Larson were shot down by a Kree spacecraft, piloted by none other than Jan Rog. Jan Rog kills Lawson, a secret Kree operative named Mar-Vell who'd gone rogue, and whose experimental project was meant to peacefully end the Kree-Skrull War. Danvers realizes she's been fighting for the wrong side, and the Kree had erased her memories and abducted her from Earth after she gained her powers, a side effect of her decision to blow up the engine of Lawson's experimental craft to keep it out of Jan Rog's hands. Danvers and the Skrulls strike a truce, and they fly off to find Mar-Vell's power source before the Kree can snatch it away. Once aboard Mar-Vell's orbiting space lab, Danvers, Fury, Rambeau, Talos, and Goose find her power source, the Tesseract, also known as the Space Stone. But that isn't the only secret the lab holds, as Talos, his family, and a bunch of other Skrull refugees are aboard, having lived there for the last 6 years. The reunion is interrupted by Jan Rog and the rest of Star Force. Danvers is captured and plugged into the Supreme Intelligence, who taunts Danvers about her rediscovered humanity, saying that being human sucks. Wrong move. Danvers overcomes the Supreme Intelligence and breaks free of the Kree's suppression of her superpowers. Meanwhile, Fury and Talos beat up some Kree warriors, with relative ease when you think about the alleged Kree training and all, and make their escape from the lab. In the process, Goose reveals himself to not be a cat but rather a Flerken, an alien sight gag able to swallow magical MacGuffins with the help of CGI tentacles. The Tesseract is safe within his belly, and the gang leaves the lab to head back to Earth. Danvers, now more powerful than ever, beats up Starforce, blasts Yon-Rogg, and explodes some super bombs deployed by Ronan the Accuser. The Kree leave Earth, and Danvers does likewise to help the Skrull refugees find a new home, and end the Kree-Skrull war for good. She leaves Fury a souped-up pager to be used only for emergencies. Finally, in the mid-credit scene, we see her return to Earth 20 years later, where the activated pager sits in Avengers headquarters. So now that we know what happens in the movie, what's it all mean? During the beginning of the film, Yon-Rogg tells Danvers she needs to dampen her emotions and control herself and her powers. He tells her she needs to be the best version of herself, but the best version by his standards. As we see memories of her past, we see others telling Danvers what she must do or what she can't do. She needs to slow down her go-kart, she needs to quit basic training, she needs to accept that flying is for men, not women, and finally, during her last confrontation with the Supreme Intelligence, she needs to accept that without the Kree, she's only human, and that's not enough to succeed. Naturally, Danvers realizes that everyone's been dead wrong. Being a woman never stopped her from being a kick-ass pilot, or being an emotional human helped her beat all of Starforce single-handedly. If you didn't catch the intended theme of the film by that point, no doubt I'm Just a Girl playing during the fight scene with Starforce might have driven the point of the movie home. And by finally letting loose and embracing her humanity, emotions and all, Danvers discovers she can literally fly. No plane or spaceship required. In short, the ending of the movie proves that you shouldn't let anyone tell you that you need to fight against your nature to be your best self. Your best self might be exactly who you already were all along. With 6 Infinity Stones floating around the edges of 21 different movies, no one would blame you for having a hard time keeping track of all of them. As such, you probably weren't the only one to gasp in recognition and confusion when the Tesseract showed up in Marvel's secret floating space lab. The last time we saw that thing, it was sitting pretty on Thanos' Infinity Gauntlet, having been liberated from Loki's possession at the beginning of Avengers Infinity War. And before that, it played important roles in the first Captain America and Avengers movies. So how'd it end up in Marvel's possession? Only later to be swallowed and coughed up by an alien space cat. For those who don't recall, the Tesseract zapped Red Skull into space at the end of Captain America, the first Avenger. Later, Howard Stark recovered the Tesseract on the bottom of the ocean while searching for the lost Steve Rogers, and eventually it was given to S.H.I.E.L.D. for safekeeping. The next time the Tesseract appears is in the Avengers film, when Loki breaks into S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters to steal it. Its appearance in Captain Marvel fills in some blanks in terms of the Tesseract's importance in shaping the MCU's future. However, it does raise some questions. No one at S.H.I.E.L.D. wondered where the glowing blue space cube had disappeared to? What kind of paperwork did Dr. Lawson have to fill out in order to gain access to the Tesseract for her experiments?
Get ready for a large file transfer.
How large?
There are several cool ways Captain Marvel establishes itself within the MCU's greater continuity. The movie does a pretty good job of ensuring that little, if anything, happening in the film contradicts any of the movies that take place after it. That's a feat many prequels attempt and at which only a few really succeed. For instance, we now know how Fury lost his eye, from a nasty scratch by the Flerken cat. The scratch solves a long-time MCU mystery, while also helping us understand how and why Fury is able to cope with all the weirdness of super people without breaking a sweat. He lost his eye to an alien tentacle cat while escaping a bunch of murderous Kree soldiers. He can handle a few Norse gods. We also learn that the name for the Avengers Initiative was inspired by Carol Danvers, whose call sign as a pilot was Avenger. Fury's super pager, which he used to contact Captain Marvel at the end of Avengers Infinity War, gets an origin story too. In all, Danvers and her quest had a definitive impact on Fury personally and the larger unfolding of the MCU. And yet, the pager still raises at least one huge question about what defines an emergency to Nick Fury. In Avengers, for instance, a wormhole opened over Manhattan and pooped out a bunch of alien invaders. The second Avengers movie featured a super evil robot attempting a world takeover and an entire city floating in the sky. Those weren't emergencies? MCU boss Kevin Feige offered an answer to that question during the weekend of Captain Marvel's release. When asked by Slashfilm why Fury never hit the pager during those other crises, Feige answered, "How do you know he never hit it? How do we know he never pushed it before? We've never seen him push it before. That doesn't mean he never did." The mid-credit scene in Captain Marvel gives us a preview of Avengers Endgame. Danvers swoops into Avengers HQ in response to Fury's pager, which has been sending its signal into space since Infinity War's end. It confirms that Captain Marvel will have a significant role in the restoration of half the universe's population. Good thing she wasn't dusted too. Beyond that, it's likely we'll get more adventures with Captain Marvel on Earth once Endgame's credits roll. While she's unlocked most, if not all of her pre-Kree memories, she still hasn't spent time reacclimating to life on her homeworld. The events of Captain Marvel take place in 1995, 6 years after her abduction. Now she's returned home after another 20 years, though she still looks as young as ever, thanks to her superpowered Kree blood. And just like Captain America before her, Danvers is out of her own time, and we'll probably see her struggling to reconnect after over a quarter century away from home. Additionally, Monica Rambeau, Maria's daughter, probably has a role to play, based on the character's history from the comics. In 1982, she made her debut as a hero named Captain Marvel, although her origin story didn't really have anything to do with Danvers, Marvel, or the Kree. In the MCU though, she'll be 20 years older, and probably ready to either join Captain Marvel on her next adventure, or become her own Captain Marvel further down the line. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about the Marvel Cinematic Universe are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.